Hi, I'm Jason with Upstart Epoxy, and on today's video we're going to show you two uses for the Upstart Epoxy SuperGloss system. One being as the inlay material for this piece, and second being, of course, the protective gloss coating that goes over the top that accents the natural color of the wood as well as brings out the vibrancy of the inlay material. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're in the shop today and we have this beautiful piece of Padauk that we put on the CNC machine. So we decided we were going to carve the outline of the hexagons on this side and we were going to carve the pocket of the hexagons on this side. Create kind of like an Art Deco piece. And what we're going to do is we are going to use the SuperGloss coating from Upstart Epoxy as the inlay material. Now, this isn't listed on the package as one of its intended purposes, but we've kept our cuts shallow enough where it shouldn't cause a problem with any of the curing. Now, this is one of the great things about this product, is it has a lot of undocumented or unintended usages. And we're going to try to cover several of them over time, but this is going to be the first one. So what we did was we mixed a couple colors together, came up with this beautiful light blue. There's some pearl and there is some seafoam green in it. So we're hoping that the really light blue matches with the red of the Padauk. Now, Padauk is a wood from Western Africa. This is its natural color, this bright red. Some people have used it before. Now, Padauk is really interesting. This its actual color. This is its natural color. It comes from Western Africa and it is a favorite by a lot of woodworkers all around the world. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to take this beautiful piece of Padauk and all of this negative space that you see here, we are going to fill with the blue resin. We're going to sand it smooth, and then in another video we're actually going to SuperGloss coat it. But this video is strictly about the undocumented usage of Upstart Epoxy SuperGloss coating as an inlay material. And that's what makes it so interesting. It's the fact that it has a lot of these little purposes that aren't written down that you can actually use it for. So let's get started. This is going to be a smaller pour, so we are going to mix our epoxy by weight, and that's why I have the scale here. So remember, 100 parts resin, 83 parts hardener by weight. So now we want to mix it. That way it starts out clear. As you mix it, it begins to get cloudy. And we go over this every time. It has to go from cloudy back to clear for it to be mixed completely. Scrape your edges, scrape your bottom. Try not to introduce too many air bubbles. The air bubbles actually make it look like it's cloudy, but it's actually not. I find that the best way to do my test is to do a little drip pour off the stir stick. All right, we're actually good with that. So now we're going to add our blue that we came up with for this pour. And we want this to be a really opaque inlay, so we're going to add a decent amount of the pigment. We'll just see how it turns out. We can always add more. All right, so we have a really nice vibrant blue. There are shades of a seafoam green and pearlescent in it. And I saved enough of the pigment so that if we actually have to do a second batch, we have just enough to do it. This is a good mix. Scrape your edges. Scrape your bottom again. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. This is going to be an interesting color combination. All right, so we're going to start in our cells. Bring it as close to the rim as possible. That way we don't have to remove too much material when we sand down. don't really want to overflow. That's not really necessary in this, because we are going to bring everything level in the sanding process. If it overflows, it's not a big deal. So a little bit of an intermission. We actually did not mix up nearly enough epoxy. So we decided that we were going to stop and mix up some more epoxy. Alright, so we finished the pour, and unfortunately we had to mix up another batch of epoxy. Luckily for us, we were smart and mixed up enough pigment just in case. So this is our pour, and we're going to pop our bubbles. Not because we have to, but because we want to. That's half the fun of it. And we know everybody loves to see that. So we're going to let this sit overnight. We're going to come back in the morning and take a good look at it and see what we come up with. Now remember, this is a completely undocumented usage for Upstart Epoxy's SuperGloss coating. And over the next few videos, we're going to highlight a lot of those undocumented usages that make it such a versatile product. Anyways, thanks again for joining us, and see you guys in a bit. All right, we're back. All right, so as you can see, we have taken our honeycomb inlay piece and we've run it through the drum sander, and we've actually kind of wetted the surface a little bit just to get rid of some of the dust and kind of see what the figure is going to look like when it's all finished up. Now this has been, I think, run through, I think I got 100 grit on my drum sander, so it's not even close to being finished quality. We're probably going to take it up to about 320 grit before we put the SuperGloss coating on it. So the SuperGloss coating is going to be used as the inlay material and the gloss coating. So we are going to skip past all the really boring stuff where I sand and sand and sand and sand and sand and get to the fun stuff. All right, see you back in a sec. All right, everyone, we're back. We've got our board all sanded and edged and trimmed, and we're about to put the gloss coating on it. So we're going to be using, of course, the SuperGloss coating system that we actually used as the inlay material. So this is getting two batches. One is the inlay material and one is the gloss coating. This is to show that it accepts colorants and micas very well, and this part is going to be for the mirror glaze finish. So, 2-vessel pour, mix in this container, pour in this container, and this is a container that we're going to distribute the resin. Makes this a lot easier. We're going to mix this by weight rather than volume because we're doing a smaller amount. So we're going to use 200 parts of resin to 166 parts hardener. Starts off clear and separated. As you begin to mix it, it's nice and cloudy. Scrape your edges, scrape your bottom. Try not to introduce too many air bubbles into the mix. The more air bubbles you put into it, the more air bubbles that have to come out of it. Now, the SuperGloss coating is really going to bring out the color of this Padauk. This Padauk is a natural red color, as I said before. So when the coating goes on it, it's going to turn it that really dark, oily red. I think it's going to be quite spectacular. All right, so we got a good mix going on. We're gonna pour it into our second vessel. Let's scrape our edges and scrape our bottom here. And we're gonna set this off to the side in case we need to do another batch, which we shouldn't, but better safe than sorry. And we are nice and glossy. All right, so starting from a height of about 10 to 12 inches, just slowly distribute the SuperGloss coating over the surface, paying special attention to your edges. Work your way in. So if you're looking from this camera right here, you can already see where it's giving that Padauk its nice dark red color. It's bringing out the blue from our first pour. Absolutely spectacular. All right, so now we're gonna get in here and move it around a bit, bring it to our edges. We're just helping it out. Gravity's gonna do most of the work for us, but where's the fun in not helping? Now that you brought it to the edge, I'll make sure that your sides get coated as well. Nice, full, even coverage. One simple pour. Beautiful color coming through already. So we can do everyone's favorite part, popping the bubbles. All right, two methods. Again, alcohol is a solvent for the epoxy. Mister bottle. Just lightly mist the surface and gets the majority of the top surface bubbles and causes the epoxy to separate until the alcohol evaporates, and then it flows back in and refills those gaps caused by the bubbles popping. But everyone's favorite, flame polishing. You take your torch or your heat gun and just lightly brush the surface. You don't want to apply too much heat. All right, there we go. Absolutely beautiful. That deep red natural color that comes from the Padauk mixed with the blue that we put as the inlay material, the geometric pattern. Every part of this project came out phenomenally. So we're going to let this sit overnight. Remember, 8-hour tack-free cure, 24-hour full cure. So after 8 hours, don't come in and just grab your project, put your hands all over it. Just because it's tack-free doesn't mean it won't leave indentions. You want to wait for your full cure before you do anything else. So let this sit overnight. Let gravity do its work. Flatten the edges. And we'll see you when we come back. Hey everyone, we're back in the shop with our beautiful honeycomb Art Deco board with the Padauk and the blue inlay, the SuperGloss coating. Now the coating is cured and we have sanded the drips from the underside. A little bit left to touch up here. We're going to give it a nice, some more sanding just to smooth it down a bit, give it a nice shellac finish. Probably put some standoff feet on it, maybe some handles. Not sure how this project's going to get completely finished just yet, but look at that. Absolutely flawless finish, mirror finish. The blue and the red go wonderfully together. This thing turned out fantastically. I'm going to have to do more of these Art Deco pieces. Now, remember that both the coating and the inlay material is the SuperGloss coating. So 2 uses for the same product. Fantastic results all the way around. So this just goes to show that the SuperGloss coating can take colorants, micas, dyes, things like that, and be clear when you clear coat it. So, awesome. Well, on behalf of everyone at Upstart Epoxy, I thank you for joining us on this project, and we look forward to you next time. Have a great day.